Okay, so I'm Nate with NCX Brain Recovery. I'm back again here to bring you the fourth video of our series, What Do I Do If I've Had a Concussion? So in this video, this fourth video, we are going to just go over the common frequently asked questions, and I'm sure there's going to be many more to come, but we'll just cover a few of those right now. First question, why am I so tired all of the time? When you have a concussion, your healthy brain, this is your healthy brain, is now parts of it go less active and other parts take over and go more active. So you have parts that are not doing what they did before. You can see this in a functional MRI. That's blood distribution. So not getting as much blood, now getting more blood to compensate. Some areas are getting more blood, some are getting less. That makes the whole system just not work that great. This area that's getting more blood than it should is now really overworking. And that could probably explain a lot of the fatigue issues that people feel when they've had a concussion. Their brain's just not quite right. Additionally, neural pathways have been disrupted. So imagine, the blood flow issue, and then maybe this represents neural pathways disrupted as well. So blood flow's not normal, and then neural pathways are disrupted. And so to oversimplify, if you went from here to there for a neural pathway, A to B, and now maybe you're taking a lot more inefficient way on that pathway. And so it's affected the speed, but it also requires more energy to do this than it does this. There's other contributing factors, brain waves, we're in beta or alpha or delta, if you know much about brain waves. If you're not moving through those very well, it may also explain why fatigue is also a big part of what you're going through. Also, autonomic dysregulation is something that can occur with a concussion, and perhaps you're a little in fight or flight mode. And you're getting stuck in that mode, and that requires more energy. You can get tired. Some have also suggested that the mitochondria are affected with a concussion. They are the powerhouse of the cell, and so they supply energy, and if they're affected, then it would be logical to reason that fatigue could be related at the cellular level as well. Also, inflammatory issues often can exist in that acute phase of a concussion. Inflammation makes all systems work less efficiently, and that could also be a contributing factor. Another frequently asked question, why am I more emotional, irritable, or angry? Keep in mind that emotional dysregulation is something that can occur in a concussion. It's certainly often present in post-concussion, like prolonged symptoms if you have those, but you can be pretty irritable. And so why is that the case? Not totally sure, except for the fact that perhaps your brain is not processing emotion, not able to go between your emotional brain and your thinking brain, not to go into more detail than that, but also you're having maybe other symptoms that like headaches and those things that can contribute to some irritability, make you more emotional. But even the part of your brain that regulates emotions may be directly affected, and so you could be more emotional. Also keep in mind that sensitivity to a lot of things has just been turned up for many people. Sensitivity to light, to noise, to visual stuff, and to sound. You imagine going in a grocery store and now, it's so busy visually and there's so much lights and you can hear the cart rolling by and the person talking and the intercom and the cash register, and you hear everything. So it can be overwhelming and very irritable. If you're really sensitive to a lot of things, then your irritability is also going to go up. Another question is, why should I get moving and not just more rest? Your brain has just had some trauma and is now in an imbalanced state of functioning. It's trying to figure out how to get back to this, but now it's here. Less blood flow, more blood flow. It's in a compensation pattern probably. And at that state, it can kind of find its way back. But if you go somewhere and just rest, maybe a dark, quiet room, and don't do hardly any stimulation and you're not moving, you just allowed your brain to get very little stimulation when it probably needed it the most. You really need some. Of course, you're not going to overdo it and go crazy, because that could be bad, but you definitely need stimulation visually, auditory, all of your cognitive. Do everything that you would normally do at a lesser scale. Keep your symptoms manageable, in other words, make sure there's no extreme symptoms, but you definitely need to be engaged, because if you just rest, you're allowing your brain to possibly develop some long-term symptoms. And it could turn into post-concussion syndrome just because you weren't moving and being active. So those are some great questions. Some other questions we often get from athletes is, when can I go back to my sport? This needs to be kind of cleared with a doc, someone who knows about concussions. They can give you more specific advice about where you're at. Usually it involves performance areas and symptoms. So as a general rule, they're going to say, okay, if your symptoms are gone and you've been symptom-free for a while and we're pushing it physically, now we're starting to have you do stuff, and that's going to be, over a period of time, then when your performance is back to where it was and symptoms are as well, then yeah, maybe you're going to be clear to go. And that's what they're going to tell you. But you need to kind of go by their advice, because they're going to be able to look at your specific symptoms and performance areas, and also your individual situation. So that's all the question and answer period that we have for this video. But please bring more questions to us. We'd love to answer more questions. So thank you.